talk about more building blocks. How do you minimize loss for your kids in the midst of such significant loss as a divorce? How do you minimize loss for them? The first thing you need to do is reduce conflict, because conflict is loss for your kids. Stop criticizing the other person. That's loss for your kids. Try to keep things as much the same as possible. What does that mean? If you can, keep your children in the same house, at least for a while. If you can, keep them in the same school. If you can, keep them in the same church, keep them in the same neighborhood, keep them around the same people, keep the same routines, you know, keep your holiday traditions as closely as you can, especially the first year. That is how you help to minimize loss in the middle of such significant loss. Try to keep things as much the same as possible. It's not pretend it's not happening. It's just try not to change so many things at one time. Try to change as little as possible. Model healthy behavior. In the videotape, Karl Malone, former NBA basketball player, says, children are born innocent, and then they witness things. And then he goes on, he says, just to paraphrase, he says, you know, and then it's like a train wreck and we're surprised and they've witnessed this stuff. Do you know that research completely supports what he says in that segment? Let me tell you how powerful modeling is. Children who grow up in homes witnessing violence between parents are more likely to be violent as adults than if they're actually abused themselves. That's how powerful modeling is. Which speaks to that question earlier about, you know, why is it that maybe someone who comes from divorce is more likely to divorce themselves? Well, because it's what's been modeled. It's about problem solving. It's about relationships. It makes sense that that would be the case. What you model for your kids is very important. And I'm here to tell you now, if you're not willing to talk about your feelings in a healthy way with your kids, don't expect them to do that with you. So for example, mom's standing at the kitchen sink and she's crying because she's just hung up the phone with her ex-spouse and he was particularly nasty. So she's washing these dishes and her 6-year-old daughter walks in the room and says, "Mommy, what's wrong?" And mom has a completely normal reaction to that. She says what most of us would say in that situation: nothing. And she dabs her tears and she gives her daughter a juice, pats her on the back and sends her on her way. That same mom will sit in this office 10 years later and say, "My 16-year-old won't talk to me. And I don't know why. I have no idea what's going on in her life. Every time I ask her, she just shrugs at me or says fine or nothing. I can see that something's wrong with her. I can tell she's upset. And I say, "Honey, what's wrong?" And she says, "Nothing." Now, I'm not saying that mom in that situation should say, "Pull up a chair and let me tell you about it. Your dad is a real jerk." That ain't the solution. That's too far the other way, right? But an acceptable answer in that situation: "Mommy, what's wrong? I'm a little upset right now." That's obvious. That's why your child is asking you. "I'm a little upset right now." Is this about the divorce? What's the answer to that? Yes, this is about the divorce. Your child knows that. You're just on the phone with your ex. You're in an argument. You're fighting. You hang up. You're crying. "I'm a little upset right now." Is this about the divorce? Yes, it's about the divorce. Do you ever get upset in the middle of this divorce? There's your golden opportunity. All you do is acknowledge how you feel, offer it back. "Are you mad at Daddy?" "Right now I am, but you know, we get mad at each other and it's going to be okay." Do you ever get angry with people and wonder if it's going to be okay? Golden opportunity.